So let's dive straight into it. Discipline. It's the foundation of every achievement you'll ever have. But here's the catch, most people confuse it with motivation. And today, I'm here to simplify what discipline really means, why it is crucial, and most importantly, how to build it practical, not fluff. I'm going to be addressing every single thing that you can do to build practical discipline. We're not going to talk about any BS stuff. So let's start by understanding what exactly discipline is. So, what discipline truly means? Discipline is the art of consistently choosing what you should do over what you want to do in the moment. It's about acting in alignment with your goals even when you're tired, unmotivated, tempted to procrastinate, but you still do the things that you should be doing. So think of discipline as a muscle. It strengthens when you repeatedly use it. It strengthens when you repeatedly do the things that you are supposed to do and sticking to the plan. Every single success story that you have admired boils down to this one key, that they showed up every day, whether they felt like it or not, they showed up. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency compounds into results. So without discipline, there is nothing that can be achievable. Even the best plan falls apart when you have no discipline to execute it. So, what is the fundamental difference between motivation and discipline? Motivation, it's temporary, it's an emotional spark. You feel excited and you act. That is motivation. But the moment life gets hard, motivation vanishes. That's where discipline comes in. The action. It's reliable. It's your safety net when motivation fades. It's what keeps you working on your goal, no matter if it's raining or if the sun is shining. You are just going to be working because you are disciplined. You are sticking to the plan. So let me simplify the game of discipline by using a simple framework which is called as the discipline pyramid. It requires three variables. The first is clarity. Know exactly what you want. Second is an actionable plan. Define daily actions that will lead to the progress of the thing that you want, and you know exactly what you want. And the third thing is accountability. Track your progress consistently so you know whether you are going towards your goal or you are just going on some random pathway. So think of this pyramid as like simple. Clarity is the base, and if you don't have the clarity, whole thing will collapse. So first thing you need is clarity. So how do you exactly gain the clarity, and how do you gain the discipline to work on the things that you want to? So let me give you some actionable steps. So step number one, define your long-term vision. Here's the first step, right? Get clear on your destination. What's the bigger picture? What's the last thing that you want? What's the end goal that you want, that you are desiring right here, right now? What are you working towards? Like next 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years down the line, what you want to achieve? Don't just think about it. Don't just think about it. Write it down. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and just write it down. What do you want in the next 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years? Write down your long-term goals in three different areas: health, wealth, and relationship. Health, what's your ideal fitness level? Wealth, in terms, what is your financial milestone? And relationship, what kind of personal collection do you want to build? Clarity transforms vague desire into clear roadmap. So you're not just wanting to be fit, you're working towards running a marathon or lifting the specific weight. So basically, you have to be really specific with every single thing that you are desiring. The financial milestone, like I want to make $100,000 a month or $100,000 a year or something like that. That is your financial milestone. And ideal fitness level, so basically I want to get this much amount of weight, this much level of fat or something like that. So every single thing has to be really, really defined. Then the step number two is identify area that lack discipline. So next, audit your life. Where are you falling short? Discipline is strongest where it's needed the most. So the exercise will be very simple. Right, list down 3 to 5 areas where you struggle with consistency. Do you skip workout? Do you procrastinate at work of your personal goals? Do you give in or give in to distractions instead of staying focused? So where are you exactly lacking with discipline? Basically, maybe you sit down on your laptop and you start to work and you just scroll Instagram for no reason. Just randomly in the middle of your focused work, you found yourself scrolling to Instagram. That is where you're lacking discipline. Discipline to saying no to your stuff. So you have to just identify these areas first. So be brutally honest here. It's not about shame, it's about awareness. You can fix it, but you have to confront it first. So once you understand all of these things, you have to have a practical framework in order to build discipline. So first thing is you need to start small. Don't aim for perfection. Start with manageable actions. Want to work out daily? Begin with 10 minutes instead of an hour. Small wins build momentum. The next thing you can do is track your progress. What gets measured gets improved. So use a journal or an app or a daily habit tracker. Celebrate the progress no matter how small, no matter how big. You have to just be progressing over time. The third thing is leverage pain and pleasure. So tie discipline with both consequences and rewards. Ask yourself, what happens if I don't stick to this plan? And what's the reward if I do? It makes staying consistent easier because you know that the long term will be rewarding. Like you know that you are going to get this particular outcome if you do this over a long enough period of time. So you do it, you're more likely to stick with it. Now the fourth thing is create a non-negotiables. So make discipline part of your identity. Instead of saying I'll try to work out, say that I'm the kind of person who works out every single day. Shift your mindset from optional to essential, basically. So here's the bottom line. Discipline isn't about self-control, it's a skill that you develop with time. So start small and set clear goals and build system that holds you accountable, because no matter how much tired you are, discipline will have you keep going. And once you master discipline, success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. So now it's your turn. Define your vision, audit your weaknesses, and commit to the things that you must be doing and build unshakable discipline around it. So discipline isn't about forcing yourself to stay on track. It's about understanding why you get off the track in the first place. And the truth is, most of us are stuck in the cycle of habits and triggers we are not aware of. We don't know why we switch to the tasks, like why we switch between tasks, why we are doing this work and suddenly we switch to social media, why we are doing a deep work and suddenly open up Instagram. Why? What is the trigger? What are these habits? What is the cycle? That's where self-awareness comes in. If discipline is the engine, self-awareness is the GPS that's guiding you to the right direction. So first, you have to understand how to understand your triggers and habits. That's the first thing. So let's identify by identifying what a trigger is. So trigger can be anything, an emotion, situation, or an environment. Basically, which things makes you do something that pushes you towards a specific behavior. Sometimes it's subtle, like feeling stressed or reaching for a junk food. Other time it's obvious, like a notification popping on your phone and pulling you into a 30-minute scroll session. Basically, that's a trigger. Like something happens in your life or something happens in your mind and you basically do something for it. After that, basically is a trigger. So the first step to breaking the bad habit is to know what sets them off. So here's the simple exercise to uncover your trigger. First thing you have to understand is think about the time when you struggled to stay disciplined. What is happening around you? What was happening around you? You have to understand this first thing. Then how were you feeling? Bored, stressed, overwhelmed? So say for example that you struggled to stay disciplined today. In the morning you were sitting down and you were doing this deep work session and suddenly out of nowhere you're scrolling social media. So just ask yourself that how were you feeling at that time? Bored, stressed, overwhelmed? Was it too much stress on your brain? Was it too overwhelming, the task, or was it particularly boring? Write it down, look for the pattern over a week. Do this audit for over a week and ask yourself, and you'll find these patterns, like same situations and emotion coming up repeatedly. And if they are, so let's say that you have identified a pattern. So let's say you notice that every time you sit on your desk, you feel sleepy, you end up scrolling your phone. The post-lunch slumps is your trigger. So now that we have understood the triggers, let's understand the habits. Habits are your brain's way of conserving energy. They are automatic actions that you take without much thoughts. So what is the problem up here? Not all the habits serve the same. Let's say something like procrastination or give in the distractions, like self-sabotage your discipline. So basically there is a loop, a habit loop, which basically starts with a trigger, something that starts the habit. Then there is the routine, the behavior in itself. And then the last thing is the reward, the payoff, like a monetary sense of relief or pleasure. So to change a habit, you need to disrupt this loop. You have to change something inside of this loop. So basically, you can replace the routine with a better behavior, and you can still have this entire thing going, or you can stop the trigger, or maybe differentiate, like change the reward. Basically, you can do any of these things and it will still work. But if you cannot change the trigger and the reward, then just change the routine. That is more likely a better option. So instead of scrolling on your phone when you feel stressed, replace that routine with 5-minute walk or some deep breathing exercise. The reward, you'll feel calmer and stay on track. So to change a habit, you need to disrupt this loop. You have to understand this thing. You have to disrupt the loop. Change one variable, just one thing, either the trigger, the routine, or the reward. So now let's talk about the tools that ties it all together, like all of the habit loop and all of the discipline and everything. That is self-reflection. This isn't about just thinking deeply. This is about intentionally examining your thoughts, actions, and patterns. Self-reflection helps you pinpoint. It helps you create data points on what's working and what's not. You need to change it. You need to change the things that are not serving you, and you have to keep doing and or maybe improving or adding more of the stuff that's actually working. So why it is essential in the first place? Without self-reflection, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. It gives you the clarity about what's driving your behavior. It empowers you to make better decisions and moving forward. So what are the actionable steps that you can get from this particular episode? Is the first thing is daily journaling for self-reflection. Journaling is one of the most easiest way to build self-awareness. If you want to know about yourself, if you want to be aware about yourself, the first thing you have to do is start journaling. That's where you'll start to write the things that, okay, maybe I got distracted. What I was doing? I was maybe sitting down and I was stressed, particularly overwhelmed, or this particular thing. And then I started scrolling social media. So now you have the data points. So journaling is the best way of building self-awareness. This is the one where you cover insights you might otherwise just ignore. So how do you journal? Basically, the first thing, spend 5 to 10 minutes each day writing about what went well today, what didn't go as planned, and what triggered you distractions or lack of discipline. Just be specific. Don't just write I got distracted. Write why and how it happened. That's how you collect the data points. So write something like this: when did I feel most disciplined today, and what made that possible? When did I struggle and what triggered it? This is how you basically answer the question in this particular format to get the best possible outcome. Step number 2, tracking habits and emotional triggers. Journaling is a great way for reflection, but habit tracking is where you see the patterns over time. So when you track your habits, you create a clear picture of where you're excelling and where you're falling short. So how do you track that? How do you create like basic a habit tracker? Use a notebook or maybe an application or habit tracker or whatever that happens to be. Every single day, log in certain things like which habit you have followed through on, which ones you didn't, and why you didn't follow that. And write down the emotional triggers or external factors that affected your behavior. So for example, you can say like if you missed a workout, write down the time right after work, then the trigger, I felt exhausted or maybe unmotivated or something like that. Then what is the solution? Like plan shorter, easier workouts for the day when you feel low energy, something like that. So basically this is how you do the habit tracking and emotional triggers. So now let's just create a practical framework for self-awareness. This is the framework that you have to adopt in your life. The actionable steps are the things that you do after learning this particular episode, but the practical framework are the things that you adopt in your life. So the first thing is pause and reflect. When you feel triggered or tempted to break your discipline, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? This is the thing that you have to understand. Pause and reflect works in everything that you're doing. Basically, particularly the best in self-awareness. What am I feeling and why? Why is this bad thing happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And why am I trying to break my discipline? Why am I scrolling social media? Why? What am I feeling? Like, why did I open it up in the first place? This is how you should be. Then the second thing is audit weekly. At the end of each week, review your journal and habit tracker. Identify the patterns. Are there recurring triggers? Are there something that is particularly repeating every single time? especially in bad habits. Especially in bad habits, like I'm stressed and I open social media. Monday, the same thing. Tuesday, the same thing. Thursday, the same thing. Wednesday, every single day, it's exactly the same thing. So you identify the patterns. This is the recurring patterns that are happening over and over again and again. Then the third thing is make adjustments. Use what you learn or tweak your environment for approach. For example, if you notice you're more disciplined in the morning, prioritize your hardest tasks early in the morning. That's how it should be. You have to make adjustments. The sooner you understand, the better. That developing self-awareness isn't a one-time task. It's a skill you build over time through consistent reflections and tracking. The more you understand yourself, the easier it becomes to stay disciplined and control your habits and actions. So start today, write down one habit that you want to improve and track what triggers it for the next few weeks. And by the end of this course, you'll have the clarity of what you need to start making meaningful changes in your life. So let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you had a truly productive day? Like one where everything seemed to click? Chances are that day didn't happen by accident. It was guided by some form of routine. And routines aren't just about organizing your time, they're about creating a structure that fuels discipline and brings your goals to life. So today, we'll explore why routines are crucial and how to build one that works exactly for you. So the first question is why routines are essential for discipline. So discipline thrives in structure. Without a plan, your mind tends to wander, you procrastinate and you lose the focus. So you need some sort of structure in your day. A solid routine basically acts as an autopilot for success. It takes the decision making out of the equation. So when you have every single thing defined already, like every single thing is predefined, you know that on 9 a.m. I'm going to do this, on 10 a.m. I'm going to do this, at 12, 1, 3, whatever that happens to be, I have every single thing defined. This takes out decision making fatigue, the decision making process out of the equation, so you can conserve your willpower for more important tasks. So basically routines are really essential because it eliminates your decision fatigue. When you know exactly what to do and when, you save mental energy for the task that matters the most. The second thing is it creates consistency. Consistency is the foundation of discipline. Every small action repeated daily compounds into massive results over time. And the third thing is it reduces stress. A predictable routine gives you control over your day, and with control comes confidence and peace of mind. Morning and evening routines that work. So basically, your morning sets the tone of the entire day. So basically, let's just say you woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you did nothing. You procrastinated, you scrolled Instagram for maybe an hour or maybe two. So now the entire day's tone is set at procrastination. You started your day with procrastination, you started your day as shit. So it's gonna be by extension shit the entire day. So basically your morning sets the tone for the entire day. So stay strong and everything feels a lot easier in the day. So the key elements for the morning routine is wake up at the same time every single day. Consistency in wake up time regulates your body's natural clock, or let's just say the circadian rhythm in scientific words. So first thing you need to do is hydrate. A glass of water jumpstarts your mind and the body. Then the second thing you need to do is set the intentions, whether it's journaling, reviewing your goals, or meditating, or take 5 or 10 minutes to align with your most important priorities of the day. Then the fourth thing is move your body. Exercise, even if it's stretching or a short walk. You have to energize you for the day ahead. Then the evening routine. Evening routines are all about reflection and preparation. They help you wind down and set yourself for success tomorrow. So the key elements are reflect on your day. Spend a few minutes journaling or reviewing what went well and what could you possibly improve. The second thing is plan for tomorrow. Write down 3 priorities for the next day. This clear your mental clutter and helps you hit the ground running. The third thing is disconnect from the screen. Avoid screen for at least 30 minutes before you go to bed to improve your sleep quality. And the fourth thing is follow a sleep ritual. Have a consistent bedtime and calming the pre-sleep property, like reading or maybe meditating or something like that. So basically, this is how you have to structure your day. It sounds really boring and mundane, but this is actually the way of living a disciplined life. It genuinely seems too boring, but when you start to do this consistently over a long enough period of time, it starts to feel fun. So now let's talk about creating a daily routine that aligns to your goal. So we have talked about the morning routine, evening routine. So now let's talk about your daily routine, the entire day. We have talked about the starting and the ending, but the middle part, that's what we're going to discuss right now. So the first thing is start with your priorities. What are your top 3 to 5 priorities? Your routine should revolve around these particular things. If health is your priority, crave out time for exercises. If career growth matters, schedule focused work sessions. Then the second thing is use time blocks. Time blocking is a powerful tool. So assign specific tasks to specific times of the day. For example, morning is the time I'm giving to personal development, reading, journaling. In the middle of the day, deep work like the career task, and the evening, family time or relaxation or something like that. Basically, this is how you use the time blocks. Like 9 to 10, I'm gonna do this, 10 to 11, this, 1 to 4, this, or things like that. Then the third thing is account for transition. Don't pack your schedule too tightly. Leave some room for transition. Maybe something like that. Maybe you are working 9 to 10, you're working on reading, and then just don't immediately jump on journaling. Give yourself some time, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. That's more than enough. 15 to 30 minutes, that's it. And then move to journaling. So give a little bit time for transition. But in the transition period, don't sit on scroll social media like a zombie. Maybe just go out for a walk or a stretch or just have a cup of coffee or do anything, but don't scroll social media too much for 30 minutes. Then test and adjust. No routine is perfect on the first try. So experiment, refine, and adapt as you need. The things that are working for you, do more of them, and the things that are not working for you, just eradicate them, just remove them, all of them. So we have talked about the morning, evening, and the daily routine. So now let's just talk about the time management, the tools specifically for time management. So you can use tools like some time blocking applications. You can use tools like Google Calendar or the app like Notion or Trello that can basically help you visualize your day. For example, 9 to 11, I'm going to do like focused work. 12 to 1, I'm going to do lunch, and then so on and so forth. Like 1 to 3, I'm going to do this particular thing or that particular thing. So you have to create the blocks of the day. Use Google Calendar, Notion, or Trello, whatever that happens to be. Then we have the Pomodoro technique. Work in focused interval, like 25 minutes of work followed by 5 minutes of break. Then you do that again, 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break. You do that 4 times, and then you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. This keeps your mind fresh and reduces the burnouts. And the third thing is habit tracking apps. So app like Habitica or Streaks helps you stay consistent by visualizing, tracking progress. So basically it gives you a visual of, you see like you are working on your habits and you see the charts and graphs and everything. So basically it gives your mind a little bit dopamine, which helps you really stay focused with your goal, really committed to your goals. So basically we have talked about a lot of theory stuff. We have talked about all of the things that you possibly need. So now let's just put all of these stuff into action. So in order to put this stuff into action, the first thing you need is design your morning routine. Write down 3 to 5 non-negotiable morning actions. Non-negotiable morning actions. You have to do this. There's no other way. Example, wake up at 6 a.m., drink water or journal, exercise, whatever that happens to be. 3 to 5 non-negotiables every single day, and commit to testing this routine for 7 days, like 1 week of testing. And then you create your evening routine. Pick 2 to 4 maybe calming activities for the evening. Maybe write tomorrow's priorities or disconnect from your screen or meditate for 5 minutes or something like that. Then the third thing is block your time. Open the calendar app or grab a planner or anything that you prefer as the tool. Then assign specific blocks of time to your top priorities. Fourth thing is track your progress. At the end of the day, reflect. Did your routine help you stay focused and productive and disciplined? If not, change it. Just change it. Just try and test all of the things that are working, and just make sure that the things that you're doing are working for you, and just eradicate, remove, like destroy the things that are not working for you. Don't try to make them work. If they're not working for you, remove them and increase the things that are working for you, and add more variables and test the things that might work for you. So you have to just understand that routines aren't about being rigid, they are about being intentional. They free up mental space, keeps you on track, and helps you build the discipline that you need to achieve your goals. Start with small routine change today. So commit to it. Over time, you'll find these small changes affect creates a ripple effect across every area of your life. So take a few minutes right now, write down your ideal morning and evening routine, and start small, stay consistent, and watch it transform your days. Resistance. It's that voice in your head telling you to hit the snooze button instead of getting up, to watch one more episode of the next Netflix series instead of tackling the important tasks that you have to do. We have all felt it, right? But here's the thing, resistance isn't some random obstacle, it's the test. And every single time you overcome it, you are strengthening your discipline, and you're taking another step closer to your goals. So today we are diving into how to push past those mental barriers and distractions that keeps you away from achieving your goals. So you cannot defeat whom you don't understand. So you have to understand your enemy first. So let's understand the resistance. Resistance isn't laziness, it's the fear, doubt, or even your brain trying to protect you from discomfort, because your brain comforts. Your brain craves comfort and familiarity. Anything that is familiar, your brain is okay with. No matter how hard it is, if your brain is familiar with it, it will be okay with it. So when you push yourself towards something challenging, resistance is your mind's way of saying, hey, let's stay in our comfort zone where it's safe. But here's the truth, growth and success live outside that comfort zone. So you have to first understand the psychology of procrastination before we push past our resistance. So procrastination is resistance in disguise. It's not about being lazy, it's about avoiding the discomfort. You procrastinate because you want to avoid the discomfort. Maybe it's because the fear of failure, maybe it's perfectionism, or just not knowing where to basically start from. So your brain says, let's delay this so that we don't have to deal with it right now, because we don't want to deal with it. We are afraid of it. We want perfectionism, but we don't have the knowledge about it, or we don't actually know where to start from. This basically is your mind's excuses. The problem is, every time you give in, you're reinforcing that habit of avoidance. And every single time you're avoiding it, you're basically strengthening that avoidance muscle. So you'll start to avoid every single thing by extension, one after the other. And this will basically reflect in your entire life. So how do you basically push past the resistance? There are basically techniques of it. So the first one is the 5-second rule. This is genuinely a game changer. The moment you feel resistance, count to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then take the action immediately. Why does this work? Why basically these kind of weird stuff work? This interrupts your brain's tendency to overthink and gives you enough momentum to just get started. Try next time you're feeling stuck, and you'll be surprised that it basically is really effective. You just can sit there, and when you're feeling like really overwhelmed, or you just have like hundreds of thoughts in your mind, you can just sit there, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then basically just go on to work. This is the technique I think suggested by Mel Robbins in one of his seminars or something. He basically said this. Then the next thing is break it down. Resistance often feels huge because the task seems really overwhelming. So break it down into smallest possible step, like take it to the most modular level possible. Instead of saying I'm going to write an entire report, say I'm going to write just the first sentence. Once you start finding it really easier, it will be easy for you to keep going. Just one sentence, then the second, then the third. If you don't want to work, then put it down. Okay, we'll do tomorrow. 4th, 5th, 6th, and just keep it doing. Just keep it doing until you find it like basically easy to do. And as much as you work with consistency for a long enough period of time, your capacity of work basically increases. Then the third thing is set the timer. Pomodoro technique. Commit to working for just 10 to 15 minutes. Basically, Pomodoro technique works for like 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of focus, but just to get you started, 10 minutes of work and then 5 minutes of break. That's how you will operate. So tell yourself that you will be stopped after that, and most of the time you won't stop. Basically, this is what psychology says, this is what research says. You won't stop. You'll keep going because you got started, and that was the hardest part. And now stopping in the middle, like in genuinely after 10 minutes, is really weird. You don't want to stop because you just got started. You got consistent and you now don't. Fourth thing is leverage your environment. Your surroundings can either fight or fuel the resistance. So declutter your workspace as much as possible. Eliminate all sort of distractions and set up a dedicated area for focus. A clean, organized space basically reduces the mental friction. So now let's talk about how do you stay consistent when you don't feel like it. So there are simple process, 4-step simple process. First, anchor to your why. Why are you basically doing this in the first place? When resistance hits, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Are you working towards your financial freedom, a better health, a dream career? Write down your why and keep it visible in front of your eyes, like straight in front of your eyes to stay motivated. The second thing is build momentum through small wins. Discipline thrives on momentum. Every small action, like making your bed or starting your day with 5 minutes of workout, creates a ripple effect. Each win builds confidence and prime you for bigger challenges. Then the third thing is plan for resistance. So resistance is inevitable. So plan for it. You know that it will come. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. So schedule your most challenging task during your peak energy times. So for example, if you're a morning person, tackle the hardest task early in the day when your willpower is strongest. Then the fourth thing is reward yourself. Give yourself something to look forward to after completing a difficult task. Treat yourself to maybe a break, a snack, a toffee or chocolate or coffee, whatever that happens to be, something really enjoyable. This basically reinforces your positive behavior. Basically, it's like the neural pathway. You reward yourself and basically you do that, your brain is more likely to crave that particular thing because it knows that you are going to get some reward out of that after completing this particular thing. So how do you actually implement all of these theoreticals into your real life? How you can basically implement this framework into your real life? So let me give you some actionable steps that you can do right here, right now. So the first one is use the 5-second rule. Next time you feel like procrastinating, count down from 5 to 1 and take immediate action. Start small, open the document, lace up your shoes and take the first step. Then break down a task today. Take one task you have been avoiding and break it into micro steps. Write down just first step and do it now. That's it. Then the third thing is track your resistance trigger. Keep a journal for a week and note down why you feel resistance. Whenever you feel like not working at all for no reason, you're not even tired, nothing at all. You just don't want to work. Now note it down. Is it a specific task, time of the day or emotion? Understand the trigger. Is it only regarding the project that I'm building, or is it regarding the scripting that I'm doing? Is it regarding reading? Whatever that happens to be, just find out at what task you feel it, what time you feel it, and what emotion triggers this, and understand why this happens. Then the fourth thing is set up your environment for success. Declutter your workspace as much as possible. Remove all the distractions if possible and create a focus-friendly environment and start today. Then the fifth thing is establish a reward system. Pick a task you're resisting and set a reward for completing it. For example, finish 30 minutes of work and then take a short walk or an enjoyable favorite snack. This basically creates a reward system, as I've already said. So you have to understand that resistance isn't your enemy. It's your training ground. Each time you push through it, you're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. So remember, discipline isn't about feeling motivated every single day. It's about showing up regardless of how you feel. So the next time resistance strikes, see it for what it is. A chance to grow stronger, more resilient, and more disciplined. So take a moment and now identify one thing that you have been resisting for the next week. Use this one of these techniques we have talked about and tackle it today. Even a small victory over resistance can shift the momentum for the better. So have you noticed an interesting pattern in your life? How once you start something, it becomes really easier to keep going. That's momentum in action. Whether it's pushing through a workout or tackling a long project, the hardest part of anything is just getting started. Once you get started with it, it's easy to move on. But once you get moving, things start to flow. So this is what you have to understand. Momentum is the secret ingredient to mastering discipline. And today, we are going to be talking about how small wins and consistent efforts can transform your life. So basically, this will give you the power of momentum. So here's the thing. You don't need to conquer the world in one day. Small wins, the little victories, are truly what builds the momentum. Think about it. Making your bed in the morning, choosing water over soda, or completing a single task from your to-do list. These actions might seem insignificant at the beginning, but they set the tone for the rest of the day. So success is built brick by brick. So small wins are the foundation of something big that you are trying to achieve. So there's a powerful principle by Darren Hardy which is called as the compound effect. The idea is simple. Small, consistent actions over time leads to extraordinary results. For example, imagine reading 10 pages of a book every single day. It does not sound like too much. You're not reading a book a day or something like that. It seems like too insignificant. Like 10 pages a day of a book, like it contains of maybe 250 pages, 100. But 10 pages of a book every single day in a year, you will have read 3,600 pages. That's almost 12 books. This applies to every area of your life: fitness, career, relationship. The consistency is the key, not the perfection. It's the consistency. If you do it for long enough period of time, the exact same thing, you are gonna get extraordinary results no matter what you do. Extraordinary results. They can be positive or negative. If you do the negative thing for a long enough period of time, then you're gonna get negative outcome. If you do the positive thing, positive outcome. So now let's talk about the actionable stuff, the practical stuff. So the first thing, in order to build the momentum, you have to set micro goals. Big goals are inspiring. They are genuinely really great, but they are so overwhelming that you just want to quit. That's why you have to break them down into micro goals. So let's say, for example, you want to lose 20 pounds. So instead of focusing on the end result, set a daily goal for walking 10,000 steps or drinking 2 liters of water. This micro goals keeps you stay focused and gives you a sense of accomplishment when you complete. So the examples could be as simple as write 200 words instead of an entire chapter, do 10 push-ups instead of a full body workout, save $5 instead of aiming to save $1,000 this month. So basically this is how you create like the micro goals in order to not overwhelm yourself and to have a sense of accomplishment once you complete this small goals. Celebrate progress. Every time you hit a micro goal, celebrate it. This doesn't mean throwing a party, but give yourself a mental pat on the back. So acknowledge your efforts and progress. So basically, no matter how little progress you have made or how big progress you have made, it is worth celebrating because it reinforces the habit of winning. So when you're getting some reward for winning, your brain basically says, okay, if we do more of this, we'll get more reward. So let's do this. The third thing is build a reward system to reinforce discipline. So rewards are a great way to keep your momentum alive. They create positive reinforcement, making it easier to stick to your habits. But here's the trick. Your rewards should be aligned to your goals. So after completing a tough task, treat yourself for 15 minutes of relaxation. When you hit your weekly fitness goal, buy yourself a new workout outfit. Complete a big project. You have completed a big project, so enjoy a guilt-free movie night. That's how it works. By associating efforts with rewards, you are training your brain to enjoy the process, not just the results. But you'll fall in love with the process. So now, let's just talk about the practical framework. So the first thing is start small and scale up. Begin with one tiny habit and build from there. For instance, if you're struggling to read more, start with 5 minutes a day. Once that feels natural, increase it to 10 minutes. Momentum builds as you layer habits over time. Then the second thing is track your progress. Use a journal or an application to track your daily wins. Seeing the streak grows, this basically is a great powerful motivator. It's just like a snowball. Once it starts rolling, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it moves on. Then the third thing is leverage morning wins. You start your day with the easy wins. Like just you have to do the small things and set the tone for the day. For example, make your bed or meditate for 2 minutes or drink a glass of water or things like that. These small actions creates a ripple effect that lasts all day. So you have to understand that momentum is your greatest ally in building discipline. It's what keeps you moving when motivation fades away. So remember, every small wins count. And consistency always outperforms bursts of effort. So discipline is a journey, not a sprint. Moment is the engine that will keep you going. So the final actionable step for this particular guide is going to be, this particular section. Set one micro goal today. Pick one small achievable goal that aligns with your bigger vision and get it done. Then the second thing is track and celebrate your wins. So write down every victory that you have, no matter how big or no matter how small. Just celebrate it. The third thing is reward yourself. Identify one habit that you want to build and attach a reward to it. For example, after completing a week of daily exercise, treat yourself with something you love, maybe pancakes or maybe any of those cheat meals. Just celebrate it. You have to understand that success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of small, consistent actions repeated over a long enough period of time. So start today, build the momentum, and watch your life transform. So, discipline. Discipline isn't about starting strong, it's about staying consistent over time. Say, for example, you start journaling one day. On the first day, you sat down, you did journal for maybe 5 hours straight. You journaled maybe 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages. You sat down and journaled, and then you never journaled for maybe an entire month. That's weird, right? It's the consistency that matters. If you journal maybe just 2 sentences every single day for a month, that makes more difference in your life than if you sit down and journal for 5 hours, write 30 pages, and never journal for an entire month. That doesn't make any sense. But sometimes we miss our consistency. But let's face it, life happens. Setbacks comes out of nowhere. Routines get disrupted and motivation fades. The good news, discipline is not about perfection. Staying disciplined is not about perfection, it's about persistence. We'll explore how to maintain discipline no matter what life throws at you. So, in this particular episode, we're going to learn how to stay disciplined for a long term. Not in the short term, but in the long term. In short term, everyone is disciplined. So, the first thing, maintaining discipline in the face of setbacks. You have to accept this as the part of a journey. Life isn't linear. You're bound to face these obstacles, whether it's burnout, failure, or maybe unexpected challenges. The key mindset that you have to adapt is the setback isn't the end, it's the feedback that you get from the life. It tells you what isn't working and what is working, and you have to refine your approach apart towards that. Maybe you're journaling for maybe a week straight in the mornings, but you think it isn't working at all. So maybe you'll journal at night. That is a weird example of journal. Maybe you can do that for deep work, but let's just understand this. Okay, setbacks isn't the end, it's the feedback. What is working and what is not. Maybe you do this particular thing for a long enough period of time, you see no difference in your body, you see no difference in your life, then stop doing that, start something new. Think of an athlete. They don't stop training after a bad game. They analyze what went wrong and adapt as per that. So you have to accept the setbacks as the part of your journey. Now, the second thing is focus on the small wins. When you are in slump, don't aim for perfection. Focus on the small achievable steps to build momentum. And the second thing is small wins act as stepping stones to regain your focus and consistency. And the last thing that you have to understand is keep your why in front of you. When setbacks hits, revisit your core purpose. Why did you start this journey? Write your why somewhere visible, a note on your desk or a screensaver or even in a journal entry. You have to just keep reminding yourself your why did you start it. So now let's just talk about adjusting and evolving your strategies. First thing, you have to review your goal regularly. Sticking to outdated goals can lead to frustration. So you need to have goals that are evolving continuously, or achieving your goal, then revolving, achieving your goal, evolving. This is how it works. So set a weekly or monthly goals. That goals that you can check in. Ask yourself, are my goals still relevant? Do I need to adjust my timeline or strategies? So you have to just keep on evolving. Weekly goals completed, new one. This is how you do stuff. And when your brain sees like, okay, we are completing stuff, we are getting new. Completing stuff, getting new. It gives you that dopamine hit, which basically keeps you go forward for a long enough period of time. Then the experiment with new approaches. If a strategy isn't working, don't be afraid to pivot. Discipline isn't about doing the same things repeatedly if it's ineffective. It's about finding what basically works. So if you see that this strategy, this way of working does not work, then just remove it. Start from the very beginning of a very new thing. Example, if you're working out every morning and this isn't suitable, try evenings or even shorter sessions. Or maybe if you see that maybe push-pull legs isn't effective for you, and start with a single muscle a day. Just start that. Don't be afraid to pivot. If you think that this is not working for me, try something new. The fourth thing is celebrate your progress. No, not just the outcomes. Long-term discipline. thrives for positive reinforcement. So celebrate all the milestones that you have, no matter how small, no matter how big. So the actionable steps to build the discipline for a long term is the first thing: review and adjust your goals regularly. So set a monthly reminder to revisit your goals, reflect on what's working and what's not, and what needs adjusting. Use the simple framework: what went well this month, what challenges did I face, and what can I do differently next month. Then the second thing is build resilience through challenges. These are just 2 steps. Second step is build resilience through challenges. Adopt the one more day mindset. When you're struggling, commit to staying disciplined for just one more day. Practice gratitude. Reflect daily on 3 things that you're really thankful for. Even in the tough times, gratitude shifts your focus on from setbacks to opportunities. So you have to understand that discipline isn't a straight path. It's a cycle of action, reflection, and adjustments. The setbacks will come. They are inevitable. They will genuinely come, but they don't define you. What defines you is how you react to it. It's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. So stay connected with your why, celebrate your progress, and remember, every step forward is what matters. No matter how small, no matter how big, it counts. So success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of small, consistent action repeated over time. So start today, build momentum, and watch your life transform.